Let's talk about a powerful American holiday that you've probably never even heard of. It's a day that was born from the incredible vision of one man, a man who went from being enslaved to challenging the entire calendar of a nation.
Right, so we all know July 4th. The fireworks, the barbecues, it's the birth of the nation. But what about this other date, February 1st? This day isn't about the birth of the nation, but something else, the birth of a more perfect union. And its story is absolutely critical to understanding the American journey.
So where did this day even come from? Who was the driving force behind it? Well, it wasn't a president or some famous general. This story starts with a true pioneer and his lifelong quest for justice.
I want you to meet Major Richard Robert Wright, Sr. Just think about this. He was born into slavery in 1855, lived through the entire Civil War, and then rose to become a legendary educator and a successful banker. I mean, his journey from bondage to leadership is just a powerful, powerful story. So what was driving him? Throughout his long, amazing life, Major Wright had this one core belief. He felt that America was celebrating its independence, which was great, but it was completely overlooking the specific moment when the shackles truly fell for everyone. The sheer amount of history this one man lived through, it's just mind-boggling. Born before the Civil War, he lives all the way into the middle of the 20th century. And it wasn't until the 1940s, when he was well into his 80s, that he started this final, massive campaign for the holiday he'd been thinking about for so long.
Okay, so what was this one historical moment he was so passionate about? Well, it all comes down to a single pivotal moment in American history, a moment you could call the forgotten signature.
Picture this. It's February 1st, 1865. President Abraham Lincoln is in the White House. He takes his pen and he signs a joint resolution that was just passed by Congress. And this wasn't just some routine piece of paper. It was an act that would change the very soul of the nation.
And what was that resolution? It was the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. You know, the one that legally, officially, and permanently abolished slavery in the United States. For Major Wright, this was the true Freedom Day.
Now, this is a really crucial point. You might be thinking, hey, wait a minute, what about the Emancipation Proclamation? Well, that's the whole basis for this holiday. The proclamation in 1863 was a huge deal, for sure, but it was a wartime measure. It was temporary. The 13th Amendment, though, that was the final, permanent law of the land.
So, how does one man take this historical detail and turn it into a national movement? Let's get into how he actually made his dream happen.
Get this. Major Wright started his relentless national campaign for this holiday at 87 years old. 87! At an age when most people have long since retired, he was just getting started on what was maybe his life's most important mission.
And this wasn't some quiet letter-writing campaign from his armchair. No way. He was out there, traveling all across the country. He met with national leaders. He organized what he called freedom rallies. And here's what's so important. He wanted it to be a day of reflection for all Americans, not a day of protest, a day for everyone to come together. But here's the really bittersweet part of the story. After dedicating the last years of his life to this cause, Major Wright passed away in 1947. He was so close, but he didn't quite get to see his dream fully realized.
But his work had created unstoppable momentum. The very next year, in 1948, President Harry S. Truman signed the bill into law. National Freedom Day was officially on the calendar, and it was all a direct result of Major Wright's tireless advocacy.
So, the day exists. But what does that mean for us today? What is the legacy of this important piece of history and of the incredible man who championed it?
Well, there's this really beautiful, quiet tradition that still happens every single year. On February 1st, a wreath-laying ceremony is held right there at the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, the ultimate symbol of American liberty. It's this direct, tangible connection all the way back to Major Wright's original vision. And that really gets to the heart of what this day is all about. It's this profound reminder that freedom isn't some static gift that was won in the past and then just put on a shelf. It's a living thing. It's a responsibility that requires our attention in every single generation.
And that leaves us with one final essential question. Major Wright did the work to establish a day to remember the promise of a more perfect union. So the question he kind of leaves for us is this: how do we, today, ensure that the Bell of Liberty truly does ring for everyone?